Hi guys, how's it going? So all of this while we have been talking about creating that Linkder app, and in the previous video in the series we had created the wireframes, the user flows and the structure of what it should look like. Now before we get on to the real meat, I would want you to get used to something new in Figma. Just like many other apps which are out there, there are certain widgets and plugins in Figma as well which make work a lot easier. So in this video, I wanted to introduce you to a couple of them. So let's get started. Now, the most basic one that I want you to understand is something called lorem ipsum. Now, this is a text generator. There'll be a lot of cases where you might have to generate just some random text. And for that reason, there is this lorem ipsum generator. So what you can do is you can create, or you have a particular layer, let's say, and you want to generate some random text in it. So if I have a text layer, something like this, now I can generate whatever information I want to put in over here. Of course, this is going to be something random, which is like lorem ipsum. There could be some fake data that you can also choose to put in over here if necessary, and regenerate. You can generate real data as well, but you have to try it for as a premium user. Now in the base functionality, I can generate whatever text I want to, and I can set up how many sentences, characters, words of paragraphs I would want, or auto generate basing on how much content there is, something on how much space there is for the content. And not just that, there are a couple of different variations for how the text can be generated. So there is something called lorem ipsum, which is the most classic version, and there are a couple of others. I really like the Potter ipsum. It starts off with Potter and has a lot of Harry Potter based references. You can see Half-Blood, Prophecies, Pumpkin, Wand, so a lot of those as well. Now the next one is called Brand Fetch. Now this is one of those plugins that helps me gather a lot of brand related data. So for instance, if I want specific logos, specific companies, and we can find out all about that from over here. So let's say if I have a company in mind, and let's call it Microsoft. So for Microsoft, there are multiple variations. There is 365 and normal Microsoft as well. And from here, I can gather logos, colors, fonts, images if there's anything that would be necessary, if there's anything that is available over there. And it provides you SVGs and JPEGs both. So you can go ahead, you can use that as vector as well. So let's say if I do have that over here, if I just click it, it just pops up over here. And you can see that this is a vector, this is another vector. I can play around with this if I want to, and that makes my brand life quite easy. Now the next one is specifically used for icons. Although this does not have a huge library, but there is quite some amount of icons that you can find from over here. The good part though is that all of these icons have different variations how you can choose them. So you can choose to make them sharp, rounded, or outlined if you want anything as such. And not just that, you can choose in the weight, the how much weight or how thin or how thick are they supposed to be. Whether you want fill on or off, you can choose gray theme, you can choose dark theme, normal, you can choose emphasis, which is in slightly bigger color, and you can choose the font or the size of the icon over here as well. And all of these icons are called material symbols because all of these are going to be used by Google material theme somewhere or the other. So this is a great library, but there is one more that I do prefer. So although I do like the material library, sometimes I would prefer a more iOS styled themes, right? So and that's why Icons 8, icons, illustrations, and photo. This is another great plugin that helps me get a lot of different icons, and not just icons, illustrations and photos as well. So you can go to icons, you can select what sort of icon do you want. The free version has generate just the PNG option. The SVG is supposed to be something that you can purchase. But I generally don't go that far. PNG more or less works for me. You can choose the color that you'd want the icon to be in. You can choose the size, how big or how small you'd want it. There are multiple different variations for what you can choose if you'd want a different set of icons, different style, something that you want to see and try out with for your creations. So all of that is over here. There are illustrations. There are a lot of different illustrations that you can choose from. So for instance, let's say if I have character, and there are multiple styles that you can also choose from. And then of course photos. Now a lot of photos are available over here, but there is another plugin that I do prefer specifically for photos. Now this one is called Unsplash. You might have already used it on the internet. It has a great library and a nice plugin that I can use directly in Figma as well. It makes my job a lot easier between browsing on multiple tabs, specifically when I'm using the Figma application and not the browser. So I can use a lot of these photos directly from over here. I can also search if I want something specific. So let's say if I was going for animal, I can choose something from over here. Isn't that nice? Now you might remember that we have spoken about design systems in one of the previous videos. There is a plugin which is dedicated specifically to that. And this one is called Figure, F-I-G-R. And with this, I can generate a large amount of design systems that I can use for the entire stylization. So if I just skip this over here, this is the free beta, and let's create a new project called Linked. Okay, and once I create this project, it will start generating a lot of different style options for me to use. Now you can see over here, you can choose a lot of different things. I can choose color, typography, spacing, grids, radius, shadows, and components as well. So I can get very specific components if I do want to get created by choosing the specific style of icons that the specific style that I would want to define. So let's say if I do have a there is absolutely no radius that I want, I can see that the continue button or the components that are being generated over here are very stylized specifically though how I want it. I can also choose the color. So let's say if I do want a different color over here, probably it doesn't look good. If I probably like a cyan, then I can see all of the buttons over here end up becoming cyan, right? So isn't that nice? So I can get a huge design library directly from over here, and if I just click on generate, it will create a new page on which all of these things will be set. And not just that, you can also see, you'll also be able to see the multiple styles that you're going to be using throughout the project appear over here. So while this gets created, let's just wait and watch how this happens. You can see, I think this is almost done. I think there might be something that is still pending, but that's okay. There I have a lot of different. From over here, I can see that everything has been generated as separate tabs. I can see a lot of different variations for the colors, spacing, radius, grid, typography, and not just that, you can see over here in the local styles, everything has been created depending on how I want it. For desktop, mobile, there are a lot of different colors that have also been generated, and there are specific shadow and styles that has also been generated. So it creates a huge library of design system that we can choose to work with when we are moving forward. Now the last one that I want to talk to you about is called content reel, and don't know why it's called content reel. I was never able to make sense of it, but it is a great plugin if you want to enter a very specific type of data and use it over and over again. So what this does is it has a lot of different varieties of different types of text that you can choose, and I can see whatever, for instance, I can see over here full name, first, last, that has been saved over here in the plugin. And if I do choose a particular text box, I can choose to replace all of that text very easily. So for instance, I would want job titles over here. So let's go to text, search for job titles. I do see a lot of different job titles have appeared over here. Great, perfect. So what do I do with this? I can select the specific text that I would want to replace and click on apply all. There we go. That is that easy, right? All of these text from over here, the random ones have been selected, and then finally it has appeared over here where I want to replace the text. So I can do this for if I want to get in a lot of different names, addresses. So there are a lot of different addresses that have also been added, and not just that, you can add your own sort of data by firstly logging into the app and by selecting this text based. Now you can enter a lot of these inputs directly. If you are generating something from ChatGPT, you push it over here. It will make your life slightly easier because you will have a lot of simple work to be done. Instead of copy pasting each and every time from GPT, you would be able to select something from over here and move forward. So those are all the plugins that I am going to be using in the upcoming video, where we are going to be creating the actual wireframe, the interaction prototype for LinkedIn. So stick with me, make sure that you like this video, share this with somebody you think is using Figma and can benefit from all of that, and subscribe to Design Up channel. I will see you in the next video, where we start with the interactions of how we can use LinkedIn, and we will be understanding how we can do the swiping action to apply or skip for jobs. So stay tuned. I will see you in the next video.